Hello, everyone, and welcome. First of all, a huge congratulations on your engagement. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to use this planner step by step. You don't need to be an Excel expert to use this planner. If you can plan in a box, you can plan your dream wedding. Let's dive in. When you first open the planner, you land on the How to Use tab. This is your quick start guide. So, it lists the steps on getting started, how to fill in the spreadsheet, how to add a photo or image, how to update your meal options. This is using the guest list tab, which I'll explain later. Some Excel tips for beginners. And lastly, your meal option settings. This is where you edit your menu choices here. Again, I'll explain more on this later in the guest list tab. The first step explains how to navigate between the tabs. The tabs are displayed here. All you need to do is click on each one to navigate between the tabs. You can do this, or you can click on the right and left arrows to go right or to go left. There are 48 tabs in this planner, so there's a lot of tabs, and the easy go onto the tab that you want is to put your mouse here, right-click, and this pulls up a list of all the tabs. You simply choose the tab that you want to go to and click OK. And there you go. You're at that tab. You can go back to where you were by right-clicking again. Step 2 tells you how to update the cover page. So go to the cover page, and over here, there's your details that you need to enter in there. There's your countdown to the big day. And lastly, in this is what's inside this planner. So go ahead and start updating the details. When I first set up this planner, I've populated the data with some sample data. All you need to do is to replace the data with your own data. So go ahead and fill up all these details. And the countdown to the big day, you don't need to fill in anything here. This will update every day. Also, when you change the date here, this number here changes. So right now it's 619 days. If I change the date to another day, that changes. Now let's look at the dashboard. Think of this as your wedding snapshot. You don't actually need to type anything on this page. It pulls data from everywhere else in this planner to give you a live overview. At the top, you have your key planning details. Below that, you have your budget summary. It shows you how much you've budgeted for, how much you've spent, how much you have to spend, and how much of your budget you've used. Below that are your charts. So how much you've allocated for each category, and your budget versus spending for each category. Below that, you've got your RSVP summary, so you can keep track of your invites, how many people have declined, how many people have accepted, and how many people are still waiting to replies. Then you've got your planning progress. Right next to the dashboard is your mood board. This is a fun place where you can paste your inspiration photos, change your mood color palette, and anything to do with styling. So at the top is your color palettes for this planner. I've chosen both our outdoor garden theme, so here are my colors. You can update this with your colors. So, for example, I'm changing this one. I'll go here, I'll change the color palette. Just choose any color you want. Just click here, or if you know the hex value, you can just type it here, or just pick anywhere along these charts, and it'll update. And then you just update the name and update the hex value. Now you've got your inspiration images. You have to insert each image into this planner. I've inserted one already here. To insert another image, you just click on one of the cells, go to Insert, Illustrations, Pictures, Place Over Cells, this device. Now you go to your computer and find the image. Now we've got to make the image smaller and move it. And just like that, I've added my second items. Now let's talk about getting things done. You have two main task trackers. You have a weekly task tab. This breaks down your planning into 40-week countdown. It tells you exactly what you should be focusing on each week so you don't get overwhelmed. Or, if you prefer a brain dump style list, jump over to the Master To-Do List tab. Here you can list out avatars. In both tabs, you have a status drop-down and a priority drop-down, so you just choose the priority of the task. Okay, the big one, the budget. Start on the budget overview tab. In this sheet here, everything is formula driven, so you don't actually type in here. This pulls in data from the other budgeting tabs. Below is a summary of your total budget, the total spent, the remaining to be spent, and how much of your budget you've used. Below that is your budget allocation categories. We have set up 20 different categories. So this page is just an overview. For each of the category, there's an individual tab. So there's one for budgeting, for budget venue, there's one for budget catering, one for budget photography, and so on. So the first one, budget venue. So the important role of this budgeting system is that you only type in any of the sales that are white or cream. So these cells here and the budget here, anything else you don't type because it's formula driven, so you want to break the spreadsheet. So to complete one of the budget tabs, you'll just enter the total amount that you want to spend here for VenViewer. Then you list out each specific individual items here. Again, for this planner is already populated with my own sample data. You can use this data, or you can just add on to it or replace the data. So you enter each individual item, the details, the dates, the amount, how much you pay, the status, and any notes you want. So once you've populated each of the terms, this budget overview tab will start to populate. Now we move on to the guest management. Just like the budget section, you only type in the white and cream cells, these ones here, and everything else does in color. You don't touch. All these cells here, they're all formulas, so you don't touch them. So this is how you fill in this tab and just enter the details of your guesses. Their names, RSVP, email, phone, mutual, dietary needs, the table number, the side, and any other notes. So this part, it's the important part, the RSVP column. You choose from the drop-down list whether they have RSVP, yes, no, pending, maybe. Now, with the meal choices, there's a drop-down list, and that list is the mains. And remember at the beginning of the video, I mentioned about the meal choice. We can actually change the meal choice. So here's a list here. This list switches from another list at the How to Use tab. So I'm going to go to that tab. Gonna right-click and go to the How to Use tab. So I was at the bottom of the tab where you edit the meal option. So I'm gonna change lang to fish. And now I'm going to go back. I'm gonna go back to that tab, the guest tab, and you see this list here that has been changed to fish. So you just do that process just then to update the list of meals, and then it will appear here. This is the seating chart. These 3 tabs. This planner can accommodate up to 200 guests. So for each table, I assume that there's 8. It's a round table, and that's 8 seats. I've used that because that's what it's mostly used in wedding receptions. But you can also, have a square or rectangular table, and it will still work. You just need to enter the night guest names. So with the first tab at the top, that's the head tableau, and these are the seat numbers. So you just enter, for Noble 1, you enter the guest name he, no 2, just 2 sits here. Same with each of the tables. So I've listed all the tables, table 1, table 2, 3, 4, all the way to 8. So that's seat 1, seat 2, seat 3. So we just list all the names of the guesses here. So that's with the first tab. The second tab is the same. So this one is for tables 1 to 8. The next tab is for tables 9 to 16. And for larger weddings, the next tab is for tables 17 and 224. Okay, now I've gone through most of the important parts of the wedding planner. The rest of the tabs they're pretty easy to fill out. For example, the ceremony and reception section, you just fill in the details, the ceremony details, the order of the service. Again, feel free to change these. The vows, reception details, reception timeline. You can change these. There's the menu. There's the vendor tab. So you just list out all the vendors. For each category, who's your florist, your hair and makeup artist, the DJ, the band. The wedding party, this is just a directory of everyone in the wedding party, the bridesmaid, groomsmen, flower girls. The love story, just a background about the couple, where you met, when did you meet, attire and booties. The flowers and other styling, photography, music, honeymoon, pre-wedding events. Okay, now this is the gift registry. You just list the items, the store, the website, the price, party, whether it's purchase, this your transportation details, bridal party transport, this shuttle service, parking information, accommodation, transport. It even contains a contingency plan in case something goes wrong. There's the wedding day. There's your timeline, your morning checklist, emergency quick checklist, vendor quick reference. And after the wedding, there's a checklist of things you need to do after the wedding. You'll return items in thank you notes. And the last tab is just any notes you want to include. I'm almost at the end of the video, and before I go, I just want to explain printing out the tabs. You can print out the entire workbook, or you can print out one tab at a time. I've already went through each individual tab and set up the print area. So, for example, I want to print out the seating, tab 1. I'll just go to File, Print, and here's what you will print out. Oh, you've got to change your paper size, so I'm in Australia, so that's A4. For the US, you will choose a letter size. It will work for both. It worked for both letter size and US. So this is how it will look like. Page 1, page 2, page 3. If you don't like the way I've set up the print area, you can always change it. For example, just say we only wanted to print out the seating charts, and you've only got 4 tables, so you don't need the last few tables. You can just set the print area. What you do is highlight everything here, and then you go to page layout. You go to set print area and set the print area. Now I'm going to preview this, and so there's only two pages. You can also fit everything into one page. You go here and click here, a fit sheet on one page. So you can fit everything into one page. Okay, and if you wanted to print out the entire wedding planner instead of one tab at a time, we can do here. We got print. And instead of active sheets, you can just click entire workbook. There's over 100 pages. So this is what we'll print out. You print view it before you print it out. Okay, so that's the end of my video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that was helpful. Feel free to message me if you have any questions or suggestions.